Hello friends and family of YouTube. Well, I want to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to do something called porch time. I watched the channel for a long time, and the guy was doing porch time on there, and I always thought that was pretty cool, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. But for now, I want to tell you about a story that I thought about this morning that I know a lot of you like to hear some of the stories that I share. So before I tell you the story, I gotta give you a little bit of lead in, especially for those that are not familiar with my channel. Well, I grew up in a small country town and basically live in a corner of a forest. Where my house was placed at, there was solid woods behind me, and I spent all my childhood out there playing in the woods, riding a bicycle through the trails, shooting a BB gun and all that fun stuff, and I always enjoyed living out in the country. And so my grandfather, he lived in a small town, and or city, I guess you would call it. It had a little bit of everything. You know, it had the major stores that you would need for a town, city. It had your grocery stores, had a few gas stations, that sort of thing, whereas we just had one of each. We didn't have multiples of anything in my area. So when I was a kid and I would go to his place, it was always kind of a treat, you know, when you're a country boy and you can walk from his house to go to a Dairy Queen. To me, that was the coolest thing ever, you know. But they also had this big cow up in the town square, and I think it was made of metal. It might have been fiberglass, but I'm thinking that it was metal, and I think it's called Elsie, the cow. Anyway, my grandfather worked for Borden Milk Company, also made cheese. But anyway, since Borden was such a big job opportunity for the town, they had that big cow set up there at the square. And when I was a kid, I'd go up there and climb on that cow, and of course all the kids would. And you know, man, that thing was huge. It was probably 5 times bigger than what a true cow is or was, you know. But anyway, I always thought it was cool that they had that in the small town. But like I say, they did have a Dairy Queen, and I always thought it was cool just to be able to walk down there and get something. And I'll tell you another small story before I forget, because this one's pretty cool. We didn't have soft drinks in my house, but my grandfather always bought Coca-Cola for my grandmother. And he gave me and my brother, I don't know, it's probably 50 cents or $1 or whatever it was. And he told us, he said, y'all go to the store and get a 6-pack of Cokes. And we was like, oh yeah. Well, here in the South, you say Coke, and it doesn't matter if it's orange or grape or Dr. Pepper or whatever. Matter of fact, I'm wearing Dr. Pepper shirt today. But anyway, so he sent us down to the store, and we come back, and man, we had a little bit of everything: Mountain Dew, orange, Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, everything we could get in that 6-pack. And he was like, I told y'all to get Cokes. And we was like, well, we did. He said, no, you go back and you get Coca-Cola. So we had to go back and get the real thing. But we thought it was kind of a nice treat to get something different. So we wanted to try the varieties. But anyway, the story I wanted to tell was that my grandfather, he had a pretty thick mustache, and I mean, it was a pretty epic mustache. And you talking about the 70s, and that was kind of the going thing of the 70s, is a lot of men had the mustache. Well, my cousin went to stay with my grandfather one weekend, and they had been shucking corn. And as they were shucking the corn, they had the corn silk off of the corn. And my cousin, he was probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, something like that. He wasn't very old at all. So he took that corn silk and he said, hey, look, Pop. That's what we called my grandfather, was Pop. He said, look, Pop, I got me a mustache. And he'd put that corn silk on his upper lip. And and they both laughed about it and thought it was funny, So my cousin asked my grandfather, he was like, have we got a way that we can fix this to my face? He said, do we have a way we can fix it to my face? And the grandfather said, yeah. So they got some tape and they taped it up together and then taped it to his lips somehow. I wasn't there for this. I've heard the story. I've heard it from my grandfather before he passed, and I've heard it from my cousin. But anyway, they either taped or glued the mustache of corn silk to my cousin's face. So anyway, they went to the grocery store, and like I say, my cousin, he's 4 or 5 years old, and he went with him too. And so they go to the grocery store, and my cousin wanted to go with the mustache on his face. And to give you an idea of what kind of a character my grandfather was, he thought it was funny too, so he let the boy go around the store walking around with that mustache on. And of course, everybody in the store is looking at him, you know. I mean, of course, they probably just kind of glance down at a kid and be like, what is that on that kid's face? I'm sure it didn't look real. You know, from a 5-year-old perspective, I'm sure he thought his mustache looked real, but I would imagine there's not a way you can really put corn silk for a mustache and it look real. But yeah, my grandfather, he was a real character, man. He loved to play tricks on you, or I mean, he'd pull a trick on a dog. He didn't care what it was. If it was living and breathing, he's gonna pull a trick on it. But man, he was a hard worker. We like I said, that Borden milk place was there, and they had a boiler room. And his job, I don't know if you would say he was the boiler room operator. He would keep the fire going in the boilers. And my dad told me, he said every now and then his mother would send him down there with sandwiches and a lunch to give to his dad, my grandfather. And he said when he would come down there, he would get to see my grandfather work. And he said he never really got a lunch break because you couldn't let the boiler run out of heat. You know, I mean, it's constantly going, and they heated it with coal. And he said they had about 5 or 6 of these boilers, from what my dad could remember. But they would keep each boiler had a ramp, and so he would load the coal up into the wheelbarrow, and then take each boiler had its own little ramp. So he would take that wheelbarrow up to the boiler, open the door, and then shovel the coal into that particular boiler, and then he would just keep going down the line. By the time he got the one down on the end done, he had to start all over again and just keep going down. So as he was working, he wasn't able to take a lunch break. He had to continue he had to keep working and moving all day long. And so if he had something to eat, he had to grab a bite, set it down, and go back to work. But his hands were so calloused, my grandfather's, from the wheelbarrow, from the shovel, from the hot handles on the doors and everything. His hands were just one big solid callus. And I'll never forget this, no matter how old I live to be. But I was there as a kid, staying like my cousin did, staying for the weekend with my grandparents. And we were having breakfast, and I thought of another story I got to share with you. But anyway, my grandfather opened up the oven to get the biscuits out of the oven, and he reached in there barehanded and pulled the tray out and set it up on top of the oven top, the stove top. Now, I'm not saying that he took his time and he whistled Dixie on the way of putting it up there. I'm just saying he reached in and he set it up there. Of course, my grandmother got onto him for that, because she said, them kids see you doing that, they'll try it too. And it didn't really calculate to me, you know, that he didn't have a pot holder or a glove on or anything, or use a rag. You know, I'm a kid, it really didn't really register, but it did to my grandmother, and she kind of got onto him a little bit. But they would get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and to fix breakfast. And it's funny because they didn't work. They were both retired. But they felt like they needed to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And of course, me and my brother, we wanted to sleep in late. And we would be at that table like this. Now, my mother, she never got us up and fixed us breakfast. If she did, it would be on the weekends, and we would have, it would be kind of a treat breakfast. It wasn't just like a, you know, here's your breakfast, head on out the door and go. It was something special. But anyway, so they fixed breakfast every morning, 5 o'clock or whatever. Me and my brother are just sitting there. I mean, our heads are just, we're doing the chicken head, that head just bobbling back and forth. And I mean, we don't want to talk. You know how you try to talk to a kid at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the kid's like, yeah, like that. So we're sitting there at that table, and our heads start going back down like that. You got all the dishes and the silverware and the glasses and everything, and my granddaddy takes both of his fists and just bam, just pounds on the table. And you know, you're talking about one of those old metal tables from the 50s, and so when he hits it, it rattles everything on the table. Of course, me and my brother sitting there, and our heads are like that. And when he hits it, we're both just scared to death. What was that? And you know, that's when I say he was big on pulling tricks and stuff. That's an example of the kind of stuff that he would do to you. He loved to aggravate. But man, I miss him, and I got a lot of that in my blood. I'm the same way. I aggravate the dog and the cat. Just you know, I can't help it. It's in my blood. Matter of fact, a few of you have been asking recently about Muppy. Let me go catch her and show y'all to her. She's nothing's been wrong with her or anything. I just hadn't done any videos lately that would really pertain to her or her lifestyle. So anyway, let me grab her and let y'all get a look at her. Here's the little Muppy. Ain't she cute? Been a little while since y'all got to see her, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't even got to see her. I bet it's been probably 5 months since I've done a video with her. But yeah, she's doing great, man. I love my little Muppy. She's about 8 years old now, and she likes to go on trips, and we didn't get to do any trips other than go to the 127. The 127 is the world's longest yard sale. You notice the antiques behind me. In case you are new to the channel, I'm an antique dealer. And when I try to talk like I'm a big shot to somebody, I say I'm an antiques broker. But yeah, we didn't get to travel, but that one trip to the world's longest yard sale, so that was the only thing that Muppy got to go traveling with me this year, and us go in the camper. So hopefully this next year will be different for us. And I guess that's kind of a good lead in as to why I'm doing a little bit different video today. This virus is really taking its toll on a lot of folks. Right now, I currently know 7 people that are having to stay home because of it, and each one of them's. What's weird is each one of them is having a different type of symptom. I mean, a buddy of mine, he has the flu with COVID, is what the doctor told him. And so he's having the body aches, the fever, the bad stomach, and all that stuff, and just not feeling very good at all. So his wife has also got COVID. Anyway, like I said, I know 7 people that currently have it. Somebody I went to high school with passed away this past week. He was just 1 year older than me. He was in the hospital for, I think, 32 days and on the ventilator for about 27 days. And they unplugged the ventilator, and he passed. Let's see, a friend of mine's dad also passed either the same day or the next day. and a guy that I have watched on YouTube for a good long time, and maybe some of y'all have as well. His name was Howie, and I'll show a picture of Howie right here. Howie had a channel of where he would sit on the porch and do what he called porch time, and he would talk about God. He would talk about how you need to prepare for whatever may come, and he would talk to you about growing your own food and a lot of that sort of thing. And he got me to thinking about a lot of different things that I hadn't really thought of or considered before. And he was very entertaining to watch, considering he was just sitting in a chair. That's all he did, was sit in a rocking chair on his front porch, and his videos would last anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, and talk about current events or whatever was on his mind or on his heart. And his channel was called Cedar Creek Homestead, and like I say, he had a good channel, had a good size following, and man, he was very successful with YouTube, and definitely gonna miss him. His wife had, I believe she had also gotten COVID, but I believe she has recovered. I may be wrong on that, but it was through her, through the internet, that I had found out that he passed away just a couple of days ago. But it would probably be good if y'all could go to their channel. I'll leave a link down below that will take you just to the channel itself. And somewhere along there, you should see something that says videos. Now you will see, I think, just a bunch of little video pictures, you know, but click on the thing that says videos, and that'll give you a big list of all the videos that they have. And you know, find something by the headline and see if you're interested. Maybe if you hadn't watched the channel before, maybe you can subscribe to it, watch it, and maybe she will do an update video. And that way, if they do a GoFundMe or something like that, if you'd like to help the family out, that you know, I'm sure with him being, I think he was in a hospital about 2 weeks before he passed away. So I would imagine it probably wouldn't hurt to definitely have them in your prayers, the family. But maybe down the road, maybe they'll give a link or something for you to help them, support them somehow. But maybe in the comments you can give some words of encouragement to the family, and try to help them through this real tough time. But I'm gonna miss him, man. I really enjoyed watching Porch Time, man. It was I mean, when you watch me doing this, and you've watched my channel, and I started this, I may have even started my channel before his, I don't know. I am who I am, and he was who he was, but we were a lot alike. And so it was kind of like watching somebody from my hometown or somebody from my family. But definitely gonna miss the guy. So if y'all could go to their channel, check them out, subscribe, and all that great stuff. And I think me and little Muppy, we're gonna have us something good to eat tonight. It's today is New Year's. We got a football game coming on, Notre Dame and Alabama. I'm not a fan of either team. I'm a fan of Vanderbilt. Notre Dame has a defensive coordinator, and apparently that defensive coordinator will be Vanderbilt's coach next year. So I am looking forward to seeing what this guy's going to be bringing, because Vanderbilt lost every single football game this past year. So I'd love to just see Vanderbilt win once in a while. I don't expect a whole lot. They're a school of intelligence, not a school of football, which has been evident over the past few years. Well, anyway, folks, I appreciate y'all spending some time with me, and I appreciate if y'all check out Cedar Creek Homestead down in the show more. I'll leave a link for you. So from me and Muppy, y'all have a happy new year. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.